I will never forget sitting in theaters with my best friend on opening night for Avengers Infinity War. We were so hyped for what we were about to see, and as I'm sure comes to no surprise to anyone, I was not disappointed. The film was full of crowd-pleasing moments, Cap's arrival to save Vision and Wanda, the entirety of the battle on Titan, and finally seeing the Guardians of the Galaxy interact with the Earth-based heroes. But one moment stood out above all the others to me. A moment that is not only, in my humble opinion, one of the greatest scenes in the MCU, but pop culture film in general. Thor arriving in Wakanda. I have yet to be able to watch this movie and not let out at least a small cheer at Thor stepping out of the Bifrost to do what heroes do best. Save the day. But this isn't a video to gloat on how truly masterful this moment is, which, trust me, I could and probably will still end up doing, because Avengers Endgame has a nearly identical moment in its own heart-pounding climax. Captain Marvel arriving to the battle with Thanos. I mean, it has all the right beats. Heroes on the back foot, things are looking hopeless when suddenly a single figure appears to turn the tide of battle. So why does this moment not seem to hit as hard as its Infinity War counterpart? It could actually be boiled down to one word.
Hi, I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have. Patience.
You've probably heard your whole life about how patience is a virtue and good things come to those who wait, which is absolutely true, by the way, but that same principle can apply to our entertainment as well. Before we get back to Thor and Captain Marvel, let's take a slight detour and look at some other examples to help back up my statement. And first, that's going to take us over to the MCU's main competitor, the DCEU.
You serious?
Alright, so maybe calling them competitors at this point is incredibly generous, but you get the idea. Quick side note, now is probably a good time to warn you that there will be spoilers for anything I bring up from here on out. To start us off, let's look at how DC has failed in patience with what I believe is their biggest mistake so far, the death of Superman. In 1992, DC Comics decided to do the unthinkable and kill off their most iconic character in a comic book event that would be so huge that even mainstream media would cover it.
Match this week when DC Comics killed off the Man of Steel in a bout with an underworld villain.
I think I remember him best as a friend, because that's how I knew him. Not as the hero, but as someone who I fought with.
In the book, Superman died defending the people he loved from a nearly unstoppable monster called Doomsday. This was such a major blow because the citizens of the DC universe, just like the readers themselves, spent years loving Superman and seeing him as the ultimate defender of truth, justice, and the American way. So when the world mourned for the loss of their greatest hero, it was heartbreaking, and just as crucial, believable. Hop on over to the DCEU and you see a strikingly different scenario. This world is cynical and distrusting of the Man of Steel. They spend a considerable amount of screen time in BVS cementing that. So that's why I was blown away when they made the incredibly premature decision to kill off this version of Superman in his second movie. Why would these people mourn him? As far as they know, the last big thing he did was kill a guy after wrecking a city, only to be killed by a different guy wrecking a city. It doesn't make sense for the world we are shown in BVS to see Superman as their hero like he was in the comics. On the flip side of that, there is what I consider to be the DCEU's best character and movie so far, Wonder Woman. Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot did an incredible job finally bringing this character to the big screen, and no scene shows this off better than No Man's Land. You see all throughout the movie we have gotten small glimpses of Wonder Woman in her full costume, breaking into the tower, finding new clothes in London, etc., etc., but never the full grand reveal. That is, until Diana takes a stand against the enemy forces, doing what no one else would. And in that glorious moment, we are finally treated to the full reveal of Wonder Woman. They easily could have had a suit-up montage back on Themyscira, but instead the movie decided to wait and save that moment for something greater, and it more than paid off.
Nice outfit.
Thank you.
Pop culture is full of more examples of why patience can be one of the most powerful tools in a storyteller's arsenal. Neville Longbottom going from a scared little boy to the courageous hero who struck down Voldemort's greatest ally. Arthur Morgan's slow ascent from a ruthless outlaw to a selfless man who gives up everything to see to it that someone has a chance at a peaceful life. Luke Skywalker overcoming every obstacle to not only save the galaxy, but most importantly, his father's soul.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
And basically the entirety of Avatar: The Last Airbender. But what does this have to do with Thor and Captain Marvel's big hero moments?
Everything!
We have spent 6 movies with Thor, and in that time he has had arguably the most dynamic character growth of any character in the MCU. From a spoiled man-child, to a humbled defender of Earth, to a founding member of the Avengers, all the way up to the throne of Asgard. All of this leads to where we find him at the start of Infinity War, a beaten and battered man. Within the first 10 minutes, everything Thor has worked so hard to build has come crashing down around him, and he is powerless to do anything about it. And that's a key point here. Powerless. He threw everything he had at Thanos, and the guy bats him away like a rag doll. Thor is at a lower point than he has ever been, which makes the moment where he pulls himself out of that rut all the more satisfying.
What more could I lose?
Because we have seen every step that has led to this. His entire journey to this moment, and it is all the more breathtaking because of that.
You're breathtaking!
But Captain Marvel, on the other hand, has only had 1 movie to warm up to us at this point, and, well, I don't think I'm alone in feeling like Carol Danvers is one of the weaker characters in the MCU.
That's just asking to be hurt.
It's Wonder
That's
Woman.
just asking
It's
for
Wonder
pain.
Woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they haven't seen your
Cool.
film yet, so maybe goes.
We don't ever really see her struggle. She meets every challenge and demolishes it. The third act of her movie is void of any tension because for some reason everyone at Marvel seems afraid to make her feel weak. Captain Marvel has never seemed too powerless to stop anything. So when she shows up in Endgame and wrecks Thanos' ship, it's just more of the same. An impressive visual but not much emotional weight behind it. And that's why it can't compare to Thor's scene. Because at the end of the day, I just don't care if Carol blows up a big ship because, well, I don't care about Carol. And if you want proof that you can build up enough emotional weight behind a character in just 2 movies, look no further than Éowyn from The Lord of the Rings. She longs to prove her courage in battle, but they didn't have her fighting in the Battle of Helm's Deep because they saw further down the road and knew that the moment where she steps between the man who raised her and the Witch King,
I will kill you if you touch him,
would be where her story would pay off. They were patient, and Marvel just hasn't been with Carol. That's why even if she's Marvel's most powerful character, I'll keep preferring the guy with a hammer.